Today's episode is all about finding your personal power, harnessing it, and presenting yourself authentically. There is a growing swell of women committed to living their most authentic lives, and many use this authenticity to run their own companies. One thing is for sure, without authenticity, we threaten both our physical and our financial health. Some business owners even say that inauthenticity is the fastest way to kill your brand. Why? Well, when you are inauthentic, it becomes extremely difficult to work with other people. It's next to impossible to communicate what you do that sets you apart from all of your competition. You spend money excessively on things that you may or may not really need. Inauthenticity has been shown to damage job performance, increase stress, increase emotional eating, and increase the amount of time that we need to just escape from our day to day. Welcome to the Lindsey Show, a podcast that helps you find fulfillment amidst chaos. On this show, I interview thought leaders, doctors, creatives, spiritual gurus, and game changers who inspire you to pursue your dreams, overcome obstacles, and leave your mark. Tools that I have used to discover true authenticity is the Enneagram. And this is a personality profile that is an insightful and powerful test that can help you uncover your superpowers. Melissa Koehler is a small business strategist with a passion to help women find their inner fire and grow their brand. She is a serial entrepreneur and has self-taught her way to success on her own terms and has helped countless business creatives turn their passions into a sustainable living. Melissa has a background in Enneagram coaching, and she helps women build profitable brands by owning who they are, loving the work that they do, and differentiating their products and services in the marketplace. She says she believes in pizza, Jesus, and the power of women claiming their rightful space in the world of business. Melissa Koehler, welcome to the Lindsey Show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so grateful that you are taking the time to talk to us because you have just embraced so clearly who you are, and you've spent a lot of time working on your personal development, getting new certifications, and really growing a platform that is influential to so many women. So let's start by just talking about how has personal development changed how you do business?
That is a great question. And I believe that I'm going to be continually learning that. But what I have learned in the past few years is that when you understand who you are at your core and how you view the world and how you view other people, really, it gives you this perspective where you're not only looking at what other people are doing, but you're also not taking what people are saying to you as personally as maybe you would, because you have this understanding that this is how they're viewing the world. This is on them, not you. And if you can really own that, then creating a strategy behind growing a successful business is, to me, really that next step.
Absolutely. So why do you think it's so important to know exactly what your strengths are?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that question. So I'm super passionate about helping people grow successful businesses, but that looks different for every single person. We all have different views on things, different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, if we don't know how we tick, if we don't know how we view the world, is even in the terms of like marketing, we cannot build a successful business, because if we're trying to build a business that somebody else has already built by copying them because it worked for them, and then we don't see the results that they saw, you start to spiral. What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Oh my gosh, I knew I just was going to fail. But if you create a business strategy based on you, then you will succeed. Maybe it won't look like record breaking numbers at the beginning, but it will be successful because you're creating something that is unique to you, and you're growing a brand that creates a unique following, an authentic following, not what someone else is doing.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that's so powerful about the Enneagram is it doesn't just tell you your strengths. So to me, it really goes beyond like a strength finder's test or a Myers-Briggs, which Myers-Briggs is just complicated and difficult to really interpret. But I think that the thing that's powerful is that Enneagram also tells you what your deepest and core fears are that really govern the way that you tick. And playing devil's advocate for a minute, a lot of people say like, oh, don't focus on your weaknesses, only work on your strengths. But you actually take weakness into account and use it as a counterbalance to strengths. And so do women come to you and they say, oh, this is my weakness, and they use it as an excuse to block their own success?
Absolutely. I think just humans, we're designed a lot of times to do that. So what I love about the Enneagram, and you hit the nail on the head with how deep it goes, is that, I mean, you could really go down a rabbit hole of learning all the things, but why I love to focus on what your core fears and core desires are is because when you actually know what your core fears are deep down, and you start to give yourself excuses, you know where they're rooted, because excuses are rooted in fear. And if you know what your fear is, a lot of times you can combat that with, all right, I know that that's just my fear talking. It's not a fact. What can I do to get out of bed or move the needle a little bit further? Because I know that it's just a core fear of mine. It's not an actual fact. Because that, a lot of times, especially when we work online and we don't have personal interaction with people, it's really easy to get into our own heads because we don't have a lot of people to bounce ideas off of unless it's typing. That's not the same. So you can really talk yourself out of things or talk yourself into bad things or bad thoughts. But if you know where the core fear is and what it is, then it's much easier to get out of it and move towards success.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you told me, when you educated me on what the core fear of the Enneagram Type 8 was, I all of a sudden was just like, of course that's what motivates all of my bad behaviors is I'm out of control. I mean, even this morning I was saying, I'm just so ready to walk because I feel so just frustrated with the fact that I am not in control of the situation that I'm in. And then you take a step back and go, well, wait a minute, what if I just sat still and dealt with that emotion and realized that it's all going to be okay? And so it is so difficult to sum up Enneagram, but just give us some basic rundown. There are 9 types, and if you could just put one sentence for each of those 9 types, what would they be?
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? Hardest question ever.
I know. Yeah, it's hard because like they're so layered, they're complex, and they look different when they're healthy, unhealthy, and average of each number too. So, yes, there are 9 types. And the first type is type 1. It's the perfectionist. They see the world in black and white. So if I had to do one sentence, it would be black and white thinking, right and wrong.
Okay.
Type 2 is the helper. They are the people that are going to be at your side, behind you, cheering you on and asking you, what can I do for you? Type 3 is the achiever. They are the ones that are completely motivated by success, and they will do whatever it takes really to get that status, if you will. Type 4 is called the romantic, and they're really governed by deep thoughts and emotions. with people and the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so type 5 is the investigative thinker, and they believe that they have value when they have all of the knowledge and information. So lots and lots of info.
Mm-hmm.
Type
Details.
details, stats.
Yeah.
Type 6 is the loyalist, and they are motivated by best and worst case scenario thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be they'd be really good risk analysis.
Okay.
So type 7 is the enthusiast. They are, what's next? What's the most fun thing? I'm ready to go now, and please don't stop me from having fun.
Uh-huh.
Type 8 is the challenger, and they are, well, what are you? I would love to hear what you are.
God, bold, daring, risk takers, pushing people's boundaries, and really having to come to terms with feeling like I'm not enough, which is one of the fears that I have. And I think that's why I get into confrontations with people, is like, I have to tell people, like, this is my opinion, this is me. And I wrote a letter to my younger self, and I think I said, nobody can put Lindsey in the corner, so you might as well command center stage. That's my personality. And you, on the other hand, are number 9.
Yes, type 9, the peacemaker. We want to keep balance, inner and external balance at all times.
Okay. And yeah, so I laughed when you told us there's kind of one sentence that governs people, and the sentence that type 8s tell ourselves is like, as long as I'm in control, everything is okay. And the peacemaker says, as long as everyone else is okay, then I'm okay. And that thought has really never crossed my mind very often. So how does knowing your Enneagram number, not only yours, but also the people that you work with, how does that help you to become a more effective communicator and a more successful businesswoman?
Okay, so knowing your personal Enneagram number, as far as an effective communicator and successful businesswoman, when you understand kind of like that little voice, like what you just said, mine is, if everybody else is good and okay, then I am good and okay. But that's not life, because not everybody's going to be okay.
Right.
And so am I going to just live in the corners rocking back and forth because everybody's not okay? No. So knowing that about myself helps me to have these strategies behind, all right, I know not everybody's okay. So now what can I do to show up differently? Yes, I want everyone to be fine, but that's not reality. So how can I show up in an authentic way, but also pushing myself out of my comfort zone so I can be a good leader. I can be a good communicator. 9s also deal with like their presence doesn't matter. And so a lot of times they will not say what they are thinking or what they want because they feel like, well, it doesn't really matter anyway. Right. I know that about myself. And I know that's not true because I have a lot to say and I am important. So saying those things over and over to myself is what gets me that courage to continue saying how I feel online. And you know what, for me and my people like me, it's going to be baby steps with speaking boldly on topics that we do feel passionately about, versus someone like you. It will not be baby steps. It is, this is how I feel and I'm going to share it with you. And that's that.
I know that's gotten me in trouble more than a couple times in my life, but I can't stop myself. So I might as well just own that this is part of what gives me power, you know? And I think all women, we all have core fears, we all have underlying anxieties, but knowing my Enneagram has really helped me to just be still. Just be still. You don't have to argue with everyone about everything. And it also has really emboldened me to go, I think women get undervalued in the workplace a whole heck of a lot. We get asked to go do speaking gigs for free. We get asked to teach online for free. We get asked to give away our coaching services. I get asked all day, every day to give away my education for free. And knowing my Enneagram has really helped me to stand firm and go like, no, this work is valuable. It took me a whole heck of a lot of work to get to where I am, and I deserve to be compensated. And I feel great about it when people do tell me, dang girl, you drive a hard bargain. Like, I don't drive a hard bargain. I know my value. And that was eye-opening and life-changing for me. And so what have been some of the ways that your business has changed since because we're just glossing the surface of Enneagram, but you know it really in depth. And so you mentioned that you have strategies to know that not everybody's okay. Do you intentionally hire people with different Enneagram numbers? Do you intentionally guard yourself when you're around more assertive personalities? How has your approach to business changed knowing so much about the Enneagram?
How knowing the Enneagram has helped me working with other people actually has been so amazing, because it allows me to understand how they are viewing the world and maybe their response to me. For instance, like if I were to have a conversation with somebody that I know is a 3 and someone else that's an 8, let's just use those two for an example. The 3 would probably be conversing in more of like, I know this person, I did this, I'm so awesome. Maybe not particularly, but like underlying, that's what the tone of their conversation would be. And the 8 would probably either agree or disagree with what this person was saying or what I was saying, and they would be very strong about it. And normally in situations like that, if I didn't know Enneagram, then I would possibly look at that person that's a 3 as like, wow, they're really boastful. And gosh, that's not how I would talk about myself. And the 8, I'd be like, oh my gosh, even if I don't agree with what they're saying, I don't know if I would definitely say that.
Yeah.
But because I know that about me, I know that I am like, I don't want to draw attention to myself, and I don't want to cause waves. So I know that I'm not going to be boastful about my accomplishments, and I may not be specifically strong about my opinions, but knowing that about the people I'm talking with gives me this beautiful sense of grace for myself and for them, because it's like, wow, they are owning who they are and how beautiful that is. And I want to grab some of that from that person. I want to learn how to be bolder, and I want to learn how to talk about my accomplishments a little bit better. And they said it from this really strong, convicted place because that's who they are. And I can probably learn how to do that too in my own way. So when you know who you are at your core, owning that and not trying to be somebody else, but when you work with other people, it gives you the biggest sense I can say is grace, because normally I'd be like, ugh, they rubbed me the wrong way. That's usually like, they rubbed me the wrong way, instead of really knowing they said this because they are afraid of something, or that's just who they are. But to answer your other question, I do tend to hire people that are that are not like me. Sometimes I do, but I want other people in a different thought processes. I want all of it, because we need each other. Like when you look at all 9 types and you look at what their strengths are, if you were to combine the perfect person, it would be a version of every single one of those types. So we need each other. There's no type that's better than the other, and we can learn from everybody. So yes, I say the more the merrier.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I remember my whole team and we did Strength Finders one time, and of like my 4 employees, three of them all had empathy as like their in their top strengths, and mine, like, empathy doesn't even come in my top, like, nothing. Like, I have to surround myself with helpers to be like, Lindsey, you've got to send out birthday cards, and don't forget about this person, and like all these other things, just because I am all about the strategy and I see the future, and I'm here to, like, I have fun pushing boundaries, but that often, I also acknowledge, sometimes pushes people away. And sometimes that's okay. But then other times you actually need to keep some people around you. And so it is so valuable to actually understand what makes other people tick, so that you can have other people help you to become the best version of yourself, and to really balance everything out. And also, I just could not imagine, like, working with a whole room full of challengers like myself. Like, we would just butt heads all day long. What is someone to do if they do end up in a situation where they just don't understand what's making that other person do the behavior that they are doing, and it's frustrating and nothing is getting accomplished? What advice do you have for taking a step back and reassessing the situation?
That's another really good question. And I'm glad you brought up strengths finders, because I like strengths finders too.
Yeah.
I think it's super, super helpful when you're running a business. But let's just say this person knows the Enneagram. I'm just going to assume they do. If you do know the Enneagram and you're coming up with challenges and you're not getting what needs to done, and you know the Enneagram numbers of the other people, I would suggest really just don't take a ton of time reading about all of the things, but you just need to know what people's core fears and desires are, and like a tiny little description of what their number is. Because I guarantee that what is happening is people are just trying to be heard. And sometimes your fears can come out in what you're saying, because you're scared. Like, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to let anybody else down. But if you don't know what that is, it's easy a lot of times to really misinterpret what people are saying. And then the other thing is, ask. What do you mean by this? And that's a hard thing sometimes for people to do is, hey, you said this, I heard this. Is that what you meant?
Right. But it's such a helpful discussion point to just get clarity. And we could talk all day about the importance of clarity in a business. But goodness gracious, we're running out of time, Melissa. You ready for some lightning round questions before we go?
Yes, let's do it.
First question. What is your number one strength?
Making people feel seen and heard.
What is the thing that you struggle with the most?
Not stepping into conflict.
What keeps you up at night?
Am I doing enough for myself, my team, my family?
If you could give advice to a younger version of yourself, what would it be?
Don't stress about all the things you're stressing about. It's really not that big of a deal in the big picture.
Oh man, I remember when the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff came out, and it's all small stuff, and it has just it's a transformative book to just realize none of this crap really matters that much. Is my family cared for? Do I have a roof over my head? Like, oh, you're doing pretty good right there, Who has been your greatest inspiration?
My grandpa.
Oh, tell me why.
He just has been such a huge part of my life forever. And he's still alive. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But ever since I've been little, he's always been just such a huge supporter of me, and always has encouraged me, like, you can do this. If you want to do this, you can do this. And every time I doubt myself, I think of him.
Oh, that's really great to have such a positive role model, who's been there your whole life. I think those people are especially special. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Last but not least, God to you is?
Incredibly merciful and graceful.
Melissa, I am so grateful that you took the time to come and be on the show today. For any of you who are looking to grow a small business, I very highly endorse Melissa Koehler's business coaching. You can find more information about her at www.melissakoehler.net.
Thank you so much for having me.
Aw, talk soon. Are you a busy mom who wants to be an entrepreneur but are unsure where to start? You don't know what clients you want to work with. You don't know what you have to offer them and how you can help them to solve their problems. Well, I have a solution for you. It's called Brand Strategies Lab, and it's hosted on a brand new social media platform called Channels. If you love Marco Polo and Snapchat, then you are going to love Channels. All you have to do to find out more information is head to www.lindseyelmore.com/BSL. That's www.lindseyelmore.com/BSL. And that will get you on the wait list for the next time that we host Brand Strategies Lab. Carol Tuttle has taught me so much about how to tap into true power and to present yourself inside of your clothing in a way that best reflects your personality without any apology. She is an entrepreneur, a best-selling author, a teacher, and she developed the Dressing Your Truth program, which helps individuals select clothes that represent themselves authentically. Carol Tuttle, welcome to the Lindsey Elmore Show.
Thanks for having me, Lindsey.
I am so thrilled to get to speak with you today. So you describe 4 energy types that really have different personas, and you have developed a curriculum to help people to put clothing on that reflects those energy types. What are these 4 energy types, and what are some of the best ways that we can dress so that people understand who we are when they first meet us?
Well, the 4 types are, people need to first think beyond personality. People always revert to what's my personality because personality profiling systems are so prevalent. This goes much deeper. We're actually able to profile infants and small children based on what I call energy profiling. And we're looking at an innate movement that actually influences our personality. And the quality of the movement is actually kind of the bigger model is in the world of nature. And then we're a subset of it and expresses in our human nature. And the 4 types are type 1 is an upward light, more buoyant movement, more spontaneous, more random. It has the quality of being fresh and light and youthful. And a person with a type 1 energy will actually look younger than they are for most of their life, especially when they're mature and in their older adult years. Ellen DeGeneres is a great example of a type 1 person. She has a bounce in her step. Everything that her news is always about good news. Wants to bring your energy up. And the downside of type 1 is they have a tendency to connect, disconnect. That's the nature. It's kind of they like newness, they like freshness, and so they can get distracted by something new that shows up. They can say yes when they need to say no, and they'll also not follow through on some things if they're not feeling pleasure from it. If they feel heavy and it gets serious, it's really difficult for them to proceed. So they can get stereotyped as not good at follow through, like they're not dependable, but they have to learn to work with their energy so they don't set themselves up for that. And then type 2, the energy actually shifts and has a downward quality of movement, soft. And if water were the energy, a type 1 expression of water would be bubbling, boiling water, dissipating into, evaporating into steam, moving up.
Okay.
Type 2 water would be like a steady river, like the Mississippi, a quality of a deep, steady flow. The energy is subtle, relaxed. It has a calming effect. It has the ability to be sensitive to other people and natural empathy, that wanting people to be comfortable. Comfort is a sort of point of reference for people that lead with type 2 energy. Everyone likes comfort, but comfort is an all-encompassing quality in their world. And a type 2, though, can be stereotyped to someone that sort of takes too much time to kind of make a decision, or they're worry wart, or they mull over things. They question a lot, or they look outside for reassurance rather than being confident in themselves. So they'll kind of get tripped up by that a little bit. And then type 3 is the energy goes up again into a more dynamic quality of movement, where you have a push, kind of more of a forceful energy, and a quality of determination that allows results, action. The energy creates an action, and the action creates a result. And so their quality of movement would be like Niagara Falls, crashing down, and it creates kind of an it will create a byproduct of electricity. It's a force. And the type 3 energy, stereotypically, especially in children, gets pegged as the, I hear words like the defiant child, the terrible 3s, terrible 2s. These are the kids that the energy is almost bigger than them yet. It's substantial in its nature. And they just have to grow into it and mature into who they are to use it for a force for good. And then our type 4 energy shifts down again to a more structure, linear movement, kind of has a presence of being just more posed, postured. Has type 4 people have a quality of having a keen eye, seeing the bigger picture. And the quality of movement in water would be like a still pond, or even a frozen water. It has a quality of stillness that allows it to get very present and focused. The stereotype on that particular energy type is they're too serious, they're not social enough, they're know-it-alls, because they're able to see kind of the beginning to the end, bigger understanding things. So there's like anything in life, there's a balance. And when you understand your type, you actually kind of come home to yourself rather than being contrary to it or seeing it as a flaw. I helped literally hundreds of thousands of people with this information, and you're able to embrace what's a gift for you instead of seeing it as a compromise. And
Absolutely.
Manage it, so that you don't use it, that it's not getting the best of you, or debilitating relationships.
Well, and I think what is so powerful about the Dressing Your Truth program is, number one, it makes it so much easier to decide what you're going to feel confident wearing, what is going to make you feel. So I have a very, very type 4 personality. And I feel like once I actually arrived and was just like, okay, I now know that when I dress this way, it gives me that protection, that frozen water feeling that is ultimately where I draw my power from. One of my favorite videos that you ever did was when you dressed up, you're a type 3, and you dressed up as a type 1, a type 2, and a type 4. And it was almost painful to watch you get clad in clothing that was so not you. And so why do you think that knowing your energy type is so important right now? And what are the risks of not knowing our energy types?
Well, first I want to, you had asked me previously also about what to wear, and I do have a free course that will give you it's called the Dressing Your Truth Beginner's Guide.
Yeah.
That's really where you want to start so that you can get the foundation in place to understand. You're matching the movement of who you are, basically. It's pretty simple once you get it and you go, okay, I'm just putting on me what is me. It's like nature. Animals all dress their truth. color palettes, patterns. They all dress true to their natural movement, which is really a beautiful thing. That's why we love nature. I think in the time in which we live, in respect to the question you just asked me, more and more, and I write a lot about this, we're left to our own point of view of what's important to me, who am I in this world, and what, with so much noise coming at us, so much divisiveness, you really more than ever have to take a stand for yourself and say, I know myself. I no longer have to look outside myself for direction. I might allow people to influence me, but I don't need to look for permission. Mm-hmm. And in that, when you know who you are, you just create more success in every area of your life. Relationships improve, your health improves, you de-age yourself in a big way. Women are aging themselves by putting on the wrong clothing, the wrong colors, the wrong design lines, the wrong makeup. As you saw in that video you referenced, it had a great aging effect on me. I'm 62 years old, and I could easily make myself look 75. And dressing my truth has probably been the biggest advantage of keeping me looking vibrant and healthy and just confident as a woman, no matter the age. But especially, I think culture suggests that as women age, fashion takes a turn for the worst.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of stuff I would never wear.
Well, and I think one of the biggest lessons from that video is like you said, yes, you can age yourself, but you can also come across as untrustworthy or passive when you're not. I remember after I watched it, I went through my closet and all of like the soft chiffon, floaty grays and muted blues and things, I just thought, holy crap. Then my big, bold, assertive personality comes out and it's like, what just happened?
Yeah, you're misrepresenting yourself. One of my classic examples of that, going back in history, is when Sarah Palin was running for vice president, and she's a type 1. She's animated, she's cute, she winks at the camera, she's very disconnect, and they styled her as a type 4 to make her look very serious and very poised and very focused.
Yes.
So when her type 1 energy really was just naturally expressing herself, it looked like she was being silly.
Yes, and she looked like a caricature of herself instead of like her true self.
Because we expected a different expression from her. So we will be judged unnecessarily when we're not represented. I'm sure, type 4 women look very bold. They look very authoritative, and you are. So you want to be seen as that way. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what does this tie into? Because, as you said earlier, it's not about personality type. It's about energy types. And you also talk a lot about how we can tap into our chakra energies. And so how does all of this tie in together?
Well, we each have a natural gift with our energy type. Type 1's gift is ideas, hope, really lifting the energy that it's a, yes, we can do this. They put a smile on your face. They brighten your life. If they're living true to themselves, they just give this sense of possibilities. They believe in what's not believed in a lot of time. And so in their energy, they just naturally come by that. And so as they understand that, they want to make sure that they offer that to the world, and they align themselves with opportunities that becomes a value, that they are valued for that contribution.
Okay.
You're able to see in your life, if you're a type 1, where that's not valued and seen as a interruption or distraction. And so you want to make sure it's being a favorable contribution. Then type 2s, once you have an idea, you have to make a plan, and they all work together in this beautiful outcome. So type 2s are going to ask the questions. What do we need to know? How long is this going to take? They need to create a step-by-step sense of moving forward. Now, that's going to be problematic if they're in a situation where action needs to be taken quicker, or they get stuck in that process and they just feel like they don't have enough details. You need to gather enough details, put a plan into place that creates an orderly flow. Mm-hmm. And they want to make sure they're in situations where that's a great contribution. 3 is, okay, we got the idea, we got the plan, let's go for it. Let's move this into action. That is the gift of a type 3, to move not just themselves, but a body of people into motivating them to result. Mm-hmm. Create an outcome. Now, that's a great gift when the timing's right. If it's done prematurely, it will feel like you're getting bulldozed, or you're getting rushed, or they're taking charge, and it doesn't feel comfortable. Then type 4, once you have an outcome and a result, they step back, look at the outcome, and are able to assess it and go, here's where we can improve it. Here's where we can duplicate it. They critique it. They take their fine eye, and they have an ability to make it more, if it's a system, they can make any system more efficient. If it's a tangible outcome, they can perfect what it is they have, they care about. And if that is not being delivered in a place that it's honored, it's going to feel really annoying that they're constantly that nothing is ever good enough.
Yes. And so that is amazing how you're saying these all work together. And it also, like, I think about as we're going through our different energy centers in the body, you can see where perhaps a type 2 is going to have more of like a rooted energy, whereas your type 1s are going to have that expressive air-like energy.
Yeah, and I teach it that there's a quality of, and not based on a social reference, the type 2 and type 4 have an inward moving energy first. They go into themselves, and introvert means moving inward. And so their process, type 2s will move inward to kind of check in with their feelings. Type 4s will move in to check in with their thoughts. Type 2s connect with the world emotionally, so they're very heart-centered. Type 4s connect with the world intellectually, so they're very thought-centered. And type 1s have a more social, hands-on engagement with the world. They are an extrovert energy where they kind of have to get going to make it more fun and light. Their connection is really with and they're the ones that struggle the most with staying grounded, staying rooted.
Yes.
What
so,
they get.
So they may have a relative lack of that root chakra energy, but we'll have a lot in the throat, you know?
And then the type 3 is also an extrovert energy. They have a physical connection with the world, and they just want to get things moving. So they might not have enough heart in what they're doing because they're so focused on an outcome that along the way, people can be, your type 3s may not be as sensitive to people and the experience they're having.
Okay, so it is amazing because it just acknowledges that we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and it's really about how do you acknowledge that and honor that and allow yourself to embrace the best parts of yourself while also going like, ooh, if I behave in this way, I may be perceived as this.
Well, you have every day of your life to practice. Life shows you, more than ever, life shows you very clearly where we're out of balance, whether through the way people respond to us, things not working out, self-sabotage, health challenges. Those are all energy imbalances. And rather than seeing yourself as a victim in life, you have an opportunity to kind of claim your rightfulness to thrive. This helps you find a center point for, I can thrive. This is, I now kind of can come back to this point of reference to who I am. Where am I still not living true to myself? Where am I still people pleasing? Where am I still thinking I need to control? Where am I, you now know you can be more objective about the ways you can heal and the ways that you can make the changes that are being shown to you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm sure that a lot of our listeners are going to be very intrigued and eager to find out their energy type and how they can dress in a way that sets them up for success. So, where can they go and find more information on your programs?
Dressingyourtruth.com.
dressingyourtruth.com. Carol Tuttle, thank you so much for being here. You have been such an inspiration in my life and have personally blessed me, as I know you have so many other women.
Thank you, Lindsey.
Absolutely. Thank you. Knowing who you are and how you present yourself can be a total game changer. Not only does it help you identify your strengths and weaknesses, but it helps you to understand what drives other people and how each of us can best relate to one another. In the Enneagram, I am a strong type 8, the challenger. At our best, we challengers are heroic, we are honorable, we are empowering, we are generous, we're gentle, we're constructive, we're initiating, we are very decisive, and we tend to be very inspiring. But we can easily be misunderstood, especially as women, because we are strong, assertive, resourceful, independent, determined, action-oriented. We are pragmatic. We are competitive. We are straight-talking. We are shrewd, and we are insistent to get what we believe in. These are all attributes that look really good on men, but sometimes get women labeled as bitchy. 8s tend to get in conflict when we feel threatened because at our lower levels of functioning, we are blunt, we are willful, we can be domineering and forceful and defiant, confrontational, and even bad-tempered. But what are we really trying to get at as 8s? I know this meets me to a T. I want to be self-reliant. I want to prove my strength. I want to prove that I'm independent. I want to be important in the world, and I want to have an impact on the greater environment around me. I want to show the people that I surround myself with that I am fiercely loyal to them. And more than anything, what me and other 8s desire is to be in control of our situation. We do all of that because deep down inside is a weakness and a vulnerability that scares us. When we feel out of control or dependent on others, or like our decisiveness has been taken away, it can cause us to feel lost and scared. And our reactions to being lost and scared is to lash out. Whereas a lot of people, they back away. Challengers run straight into conflict. As I've learned more about my Enneagram type, I've learned that I can aim to be the best and highest version that an 8 can be. For me, that means that I have to surrender into higher power. I have to realize that there is something way greater than me that will take care of me even in those times where I feel weak and vulnerable. And that allows me to control my desire to simply lash out. When I was younger, I went through a very brief period of time where I questioned the existence of God. But in my late teens, and especially once I started to get into my 20s, there became absolutely no doubt in my mind that God not only exists, but is the greatest and highest power of the entire universe. It is the source of all of high and good power. When I came to this realization, there created a sense of ease in me as a type 8. Type 8s, again, we desire not much more than just control, but belief in us and surrender into a power greater than me allowed me just to sit back and go, wow, okay, there's not a need for me to control everything. I also acknowledge that one of the powers of the type 8 is that we will sacrifice ourselves and take great risk on behalf of others. I know that I have the capacity to go above and beyond for other people. I'll be completely honest. We're sitting here right now recording in the midst of the coronavirus. And when the coronavirus was on its way to the United States, when even I didn't know whether this was just media hype or whether this was really something coming towards us, I saw that there was a potential political situation that I was kind of questioning. And I also knew that being in New York City, one of the most populated cities in the world, was not necessarily where you wanted to be if things went really, really bad. So I strongly debated whether or not to leave New York City and to simply go and just take refuge at a friend's house, at a family's house, just outside of New York City. I remember walking down the street with this idea in my mind of whether or not to go. And I had to confront myself and just say, I am not the person that runs away from a challenge. There was also something very central in my identity of New York as my home. Somehow the idea to leave New York City and somehow it just felt permanent. It felt like an idea I could not get accustomed to. It felt like, what if I leave and things really do go bad and I've left my home? Where does that leave me? With the tears streaming down my eyes as I walked through these big, beautiful streets that I call home, I realized that part of the reason that I so strongly desired to stay in New York was that I knew, come hell or high water, if push came to shove, I would be on the front lines of it as a disaster worker. There aren't many people that have the skill sets that I do as a pharmacist, as a clinician, as a warrior in my own right. And I don't know what it is inside of me that draws me towards acts of heroism on a large scale, but I stayed. In part because I knew that I could be of service to this city that I absolutely love. As of this recording, by the grace of God, who we all lean on, there hasn't been the need yet for me to step up as a disaster worker. But if there were a need, I would be that person that, against all good rational advice, against what my family tells me, against probably what my partner would tell me, against all things logical, would show up. It's just the way that I'm built. If I can ever strive to embrace my inner Enneagram type 8 in its highest and greatest good, which allows me to surrender and ever draw closer to powers greater than my own, this is my truest and greatest and highest power as my truest type 8. I hear a lot of people asking where to go to find out more about the Enneagram. If you want to find out more about your Enneagram type and get a personality test that will really bring tears to your eyes in how honest it is, a reflection on you, head to www.enneagraminstitute.com. A simple $12 test will give you powerfully accurate views of yourself and allow you to look inward and to create your highest and greatest good, exactly how you are built. That's www.enneagraminstitute, enneagraminstitute.com. So look, bold personalities like mine have to be presented as such. Can you imagine if someone who looked meek and mild in like soft flowing clothes came into a room and all of a sudden my voice came out? I would instantly be judged as a bitch. Or can you imagine if a woman in a soft pink and purple heart pattern walked into the room and then my bold, steady voice came out, you would be like, why is she dressed so silly? Or if I was drowning in like a sea of lumpy, bumpy fabric, you would wonder what I was covering up. That, I think, is why Dressing Your Truth is such a powerful program. It teaches you why it is important to dress your body in a way that reflects the energy that you exude when you walk into a room. When you dress like your energy and your personality and just the way that your mannerisms work, when all of that is in alignment, people instantly know how to perceive you and how you can feel your best inside of your own skin. In Dressing Your Truth, I am a strong type 4. I am bold and striking. My style is still, it's simple, it's structured, it's clean. I like parallel lines, parallel lines. I like ovals like you see here on my neck. I like straight rectangles. I like ovals here at the top of my neck on my necklace as well if we get it all straightened out. So I like all of the clothes that I wear. I want the textures to be clean and sleek and slick. The fabrics that I wear have to be structured to the body. Patterns have to be bold and symmetric. My style is usually very dramatic, but clean and very simple. Colors are absolutely pure with saturated colors, with pure white, no off-whites, no grays. I gotta have pure white and pure black. I can also wear all manner of neon colors, navies, royal blues, and purples. And so to put into perspective how your perception of yourself and how others may perceive you may change when you're not dressed in the clothes that best suit the way that your energy moves, let me give you a couple of examples. I promise you, if you do the Dressing Your Truth quiz, it's going to make it easier for you to select clothes and to put clothes on your body that make you feel your best. When you dress in clothes that match your energy type, you'll feel confident, powerful, and in charge, which is exactly the same way that I feel when I am absolutely true to my Enneagram personality. So let's first take a type 1. So remember, I'm a type 4. I'm bold and striking. I'm linear. I'm still. That is my energy type. Type 1s are bright and animated people. They are the life of the party. They are the giggle bots. They are the fun ones. They are the ones that are eternally youthful. But when I dress in this style, I feel fake, I feel silly, and my clothes and my makeup tend to make me look like I'm trying to be younger than I am. People with this energy type can wear very, very animated shapes. They can wear bold graphical patterns that make you go like, wow, that person really knows how to throw the party, to be that center of attention. These types of shapes make me feel absolutely lost in these clothes. When I dress as a type 2, this is your energy that is subtle and soft. These are the gentle waves. So remember what Carol said in her episode. Your type 1 people are your boiling pots of water. Just woohoo, woohoo. They're constantly bubbling up. Remember, your type 2 people are your more subtle and soft streams that may flow through in gentle S-curves. When I dress like a type 2, I feel weak and timid, and like the words coming out of my mouth do not meet the clothes on my back. The clothes all feel droopy and wimpy, and the plush fabrics, like the thick sweaters, make me feel fat and like I am completely lost in a sea of clothing. I can get by with wearing some type 3 clothing. So type 3 is rich and dynamic. But what I relate to with this rich and dynamic feeling is that the fabrics that type 3 wears are also substantial and strong, much like the fabrics that type 4s wear. I also like some of the colors within the type 3, but where I really lose type 3 clothing is with the texture. My mother is a very, very beautiful type 3, and she can wear all of these huge chunky sweaters, and she can wear bold, like thick, heavy textured weaves. These all look completely clunky on my body. I want my clothes to fit. Sometimes to the point of my own detriment, where I'm like out in a hotel hallway, like, excuse me, ma'am, can you help zip my dress? Because the clothes that I feel the best in are the ones that really fit my body. I feel like the Michelin Man when I'm wearing a type 3 kind of sweaters. Now, I do love a good V-neck and a good triangle, which is one of the shapes that a type 3 is signified by. And while I can do, type 3s are great at doing asymmetry, asymmetric neckline skirts. I can do a bit of asymmetry at the neck, but asymmetric skirts look so frumpy on me. I don't like the way I look. And also triangular cuts in fabric, such as things that are cut on the bias, I cannot wear at all. All of the patterns that type 3s wear are not ideal for me. They have this medium contrast that somehow just does not give you the power of a type 4 garment, which is a dramatic, bold, navy blue on white kind of contrast, versus the type 3 clothing would be more of a natural tiger print or a leopard print, etc. Those natural neutral colors. I would need, if I were going to wear that, for it to be oversized and black and white or dark blue and white. The patterns just throw me. So I just have to have the bold patterns and the sleek clothes. And that's the big major differentiator between a type 3 and a type 4. I am most definitely not a type 1. I am not the life of the party. Unless I want to be. And that is the characteristic of the type 4. We're on and we're off. We are the still pond. We are there for stillness. So even when we come in bold, it is still with this characteristic of, I'm going to put everything back to where it was. Versus type 1s are just, woohoo, let's just change everything in here. Type 2s are I'm just going to gently flow along with everyone else's energies. And then the type 3s are a bit more of like a rushing river. So we've got some different energy types. And if you would like to learn how to dress your truth and put clothes on your back that really help you embrace exactly who you are in all of your best self, to find out your energy type, head to www.liveyourtruth.com/LKE to get started with a free energy profiling test. That's www.liveyourtruth.com/LKE to dress your truth. If you would like to learn more all about Carol's energy profiling and figure out how to most effectively dress your truth, head to www.caroltuttle.com/LKE to get your free beginner's guide to energy profiling and get a way to really truly embrace your amazing personal style. That's www.caroltuttle.com/LKE to get a free beginner's guide to dress your truth. The Lindsey Elmore Show is written and produced by me, Lindsey Elmore. Show segments are produced by Sue Procco and Kelsey Lorman. Production design, sound design, and editing is by Jive Media. If you have a question about this or any other episode of the podcast, send us an email to hello@lindseyelmoreshow.com. And hey, Since you're still here, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And while you're at it, go over and follow us on Instagram @Lindsey Elmore Show. This helps us bring the pod to more people.